We want to welcome you in to our FCC studio for our FCC Conversations podcast. Joe, we have quite the setting here today. It's a pretty relaxing setting here as we are in the FCC nursery.
You know, just being in your presence relaxes me, Austin. So,
yeah, right.
If I get any more relaxed, you have to wake me up.
Joe's laid back over here in the recliner, and I'm worried that he's going to fall asleep during the podcast. So we want to update you. It's been a while since we've done one of these, but we want to kind of update you on a few things, talk about the sermon series we've been doing as we're coming into the last week of it, kind of what's next, and then a few other neat things that are happening right now in our church. So Joe, let's start with over the last 7 weeks, we've been in this series called Elephant in the Room. It's been a good series. We've had really good feedback from it. We've had really good crowds, a lot of interest in this series. We surveyed the congregation on topics that were kind of cultural issues, hot button issues, things that people tend to have a lot of questions about when it comes to Christianity, religion. And so we got the top 7-8 topics from a list of about probably 12 or 15 and focused on those 7 or 8 top vote getters. And so we did how to be the church, biblical authority, why were my prayers not always answered, raising godly kids, discovering gifts. Last week was a hot one with identity crisis and transgender kind of movement. And then this Sunday, you're moving to the end of times. And so before we get to the end of times, I want you to just talk about what's been your thoughts on the series so far. How do you think it's gone, and what's been the reaction?
I thought the topics that people chose were interesting. It wound up being a good mix, as you and I talked about, of cultural issues and like biblical questions. I was worried it was going to be, all one or the other. And I didn't want to spend like 8 weeks talking about cultural issues and just wear everybody out with that. So it's been a really good mix, and it shows you, the elephant in the room. Whenever you talk about that, it's a phrase that means something everybody kind of knows is a problem or has questions about, but that we try to avoid. Mm-hmm. And so, when you ask a biblical question, why aren't my prayers being answered? That's sometimes hard, So it's easy not to talk about that, but it's a question that everybody deals with. And then last week, as you said, we talked about transgender stuff and gender identity and all that. I've been amazed at the feedback over the last few days. I mean, I've had more emails and calls and questions and shares and likes and, all that stuff than probably anything we've done in a long time. And it's almost all been overwhelmingly positive. And so many people, especially parents, have said, hey, I'm glad you were talking about that, because it's a real life issue mm-hmm. that everybody deals with in current culture, but that we rarely talk about in ways that are productive. So very thankful we did that. And when I first saw that on the list, it was a bit, but it worked out well, and thankful we're able to do that. And then this week we'll finish up with the rapture and the end of the world, which is a biblical question, but I think it's also a cultural question. Because everybody knows there's going to be an end, and everybody has questions about what it's going to look like. So hopefully we can avoid a lot of the speculation that gets thrown around and just talk about what the Bible actually teaches in regards to that. So looking forward to that this Sunday.
Yeah. How are you doing? I know, you always spend a lot of time researching, digging into your topics. Obviously, this was somewhat delicate, some of this stuff. How many people, I know you even consulted a lot of outside sources for a lot of these things and did a lot of research.
So the last week, we talked about the gender identity. I spent an enormous amount of time on that, read a lot of books, a lot of documents, and talked to a lot of people. And just because, at my age, that didn't exist, mm-hmm. When I was like in high school. I mean, it existed, but it wasn't talked about. And so I was kind of learning for myself. Spent a lot of time talking to some guys who have really dug deep into that and are kind of on the front lines of that. Doctors and psychologists and researchers and all that. The rapture thing's a little easier because that's something that I've been studying for a long time, and there's lots of different views about that. We'll talk all about that Sunday. But I'm ready for a break too. It's
Yeah.
been it's been 7-8 pretty intense weeks.
Right.
So we got a break coming.
I got to give you a lot of credit with my favorite, just from each one of them, was probably the How to Raise Godly Kids.
Mhm.
I just thought you did a great job with that, and as a parent, I have a lot of young children in the church. I thought that was a really, really important.
That was
message.
baby dedication too.
Yeah.
We had 19 babies or children, young children dedicated that day. And so you think about, what are they thinking about? And I've got young kids, and you do too. And so what do we think about? How do you do this? Because you look around, man, it can get pretty complicated pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I told everybody, I'm not an expert on that. I'm certainly a fellow struggler, but hopefully we're able to point some people in the right direction, at least biblically.
Yeah, but you've done a great job. I know it's not easy. It never is, but I know this has been a challenge, but I thought it's all went really well.
Thanks, man.
So we're finishing up Elephant in the Room this Sunday. We're moving on to what's next. So the next sermon series that they're working on, and Joe's working on, is Thriving in Babylon, and I believe that's going to be looking at the book of Daniel. Is that right?
Everybody remembers the story of like Daniel in the lion's den. What a lot of people don't know is how he wound up there, why he wound up there, and then what happened after he was in that lion's den. And so we're going to take the summer, most of June and July, and we'll just kind of work through the story. We're not going to get distracted by a lot of the speculation that gets thrown at Daniel about, the 70 weeks and what's this mean and this prophecy. But we're going to look more at here's this guy who was trying to do the right thing, who found himself living in a place that was pretty much opposed to everything he believed in. And so we're going to look at how he navigated some of that. And, we live in kind of a culture that in a lot of ways is opposed to what we believe in, or at least indifferent to what we believe in. And so we're going to try to figure out, can we do what he did and learn from his example, and, try to be a positive influence in a world that sometimes is going a different direction.
Some of the more, what I would say, runners in our church, these people that are working out all the time, they want to know, is there going to be a diet plan with this? I know there for a while.
Fast.
There was a Daniel diet plan there for a while.
The Daniel fast. Yeah, we might have to. I certainly would be a candidate. We need to.
Me too.
We need to implement that.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that throughout the summer, and we know, during the summertime, a lot of travel, school's out, people are in and out. I just want to remind everybody, we still have the app. You can find us on Facebook. You can check in a lot of different ways and find a time, or I would encourage people to find a time to sit with their family and watch those if they're not here.
What's so helpful about that? Like this past week with the gender identity sermon, I've had a ton of people say, "Hey, can you send me the link to that?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or as people say, "Hey, I know somebody that's got somebody in their family that's really struggling with this. Can I send them the link?" And so they're always there. Or if you miss something, you can go back and catch up.
Yep.
So what we don't want, even though it's going to be, each week we'll build on the previous weeks. We don't feel like you can't come if you miss like the previous week because you're on vacation. You can catch up. You know, this is not like a calculus class. Well, this is all going to fit together, but we'll make it make sense.
Yeah. So that we're excited. We've been in, some great.
That starts June the 9th.
June the 9th. Yep. Okay. So everybody, Daniel. So I know a lot of people seems like that book, the Old Testament for sure.
Yeah.
So let's move on to some things that are happening in our church, the events, things that are going on. Let's start with Celebrate Recovery. This is something that John Hanlos is heading, has done a great job with, who's organized these volunteers. And I know there's a lot of other people involved in this, but this has kind of been John's baby. It's been going on now for a few weeks, couple months.
We're 6 or 7 weeks into it.
Yeah. How's that going?
It's awesome, man. So that's something we wanted to do for a long time. It's been on our radar. And I'm not saying anything people don't realize. I mean, in our community, addiction is a huge issue, and a lot of our other issues that we deal with stem from addiction. Mm-hmm. We hosted the meal for the drug court graduation a few weeks ago, and I asked the judge and the county attorney, I said, What percentage of what you deal with in the court system stems from drug abuse? They both said 90%.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know in the schools, what do we struggle with? So it's been something we've wanted to do. We've just not had the manpower or the resources to do it. And sort of the stars aligned over the last year. We had some people move into our community that had some experience with that. John came on our staff. He had some previous experience in this kind of ministry. The 1831's completed. So we had what we needed.
Right.
And it's really been great. They've got about 25 or 30 volunteers that are in and out. So it's really it's like a worship service. It really is a worship service. They have Tim Ogle leads worship for them. They have some other people that are involved in that. Then they have a teaching time, small group time. They eat dinner together. It's really been great. I've been to a couple different sessions. I think we've had. Everybody always wants to know the numbers. I think we've had anywhere from 12 to 15 recovering addicts who have participated, and we're probably averaging 7 or 8 each week.
Right.
So you've got a small committed group there. So there's about 30 people here, when you count the volunteers. And we're hopeful that will continue to build. But that's one of those ministries. It's probably never going to be explosive growth. But all these people are here voluntarily. Nobody's court ordered. So they're there, and they're making good progress, and we're excited to see what happens in the future with that.
Yeah, that's an exciting thing. I mean, even those numbers, that one person, that could change their entire family.
Absolutely.
And so, if you can just, get in there and God works and they turn over maybe a new leaf.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the ripple effects of that just going forever.
Yep. And a lot of times they have connections even outside. They continue to build and invite people and things like that.
It's been really cool to watch kind of from a distance and even a little bit up close. And I think it's great. We're off to a really good start. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's really, really good. It's exciting to hear. Men's banquet. This is something we do every year with our men. We've been doing this for a pretty good while.
Yeah, a long time.
And it's changed just a little bit this year. We decided to host it right here at First Christian. We got Robin Hart is going to be our speaker. I don't know a ton about Robin. I've spoken with him a couple times just on the phone, and it seems like a really nice person. I know he is a lead minister and up in Ohio, and has done really well with the church that he helps lead, and was once in Monticello. Is that right?
That's my understanding. I really don't know him either. I know a lot of guys that do, and we kind of know a lot of the same people, and everything I've heard has been great. I know he was a youth minister at Mill Springs Christian for a while back in the 80s. I think he also preached maybe at Burnside for a couple of years. And then he went to Ohio, and he just kind of stayed there. He's been there for 30-something years and leads just a great church up there, a very large church. So he's excited to come, hang out, kind of his old stomping ground, and we're excited to have him. So he'll be speaking at our men's banquet on Friday night, and he's going to hang out through the weekend and preach on Sunday too. So should be a good weekend.
Yeah, men, if you're listening to this and you've not signed up, we're having Sonny's for dinner at 6:00, and then Robin's going to speak after that. We did order just a little bit of extra food. One, to help cover the guys that are coming, but two, in case somebody, last minute decides they want to come hang out with us, you're more
We'll
than
have
welcome.
some all-star eaters on that deal.
That's
right.
Never a shortage of food, or there's never too much food for that. Usually we can handle it pretty easily.
That's right.
But we're excited about that next Friday, May 31st. And then lastly, I guess we're doing something kind of exciting with the youth as we leave for our third year in a row for Generate Camp. So we're taking, I've got more kids than ever. I got more volunteers than ever. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I was blown away. I came down, was it last week on Wednesday? I came down and just hung out with you guys. And, man, I was blown away by the number of kids that are in there. And I know, I don't know how many are going to camp, but it's a huge number.
Yeah, so we got 25 kids going to camp. Probably 12 of those out of that 25 have never been before, so going for the first time, which I think is really neat. All the kids that are going have been the last 2 years with me, though, so we've kind of built it each year up a little bit. I never had a kid that's gone and didn't want to go back.
I want to give you props, too. You raised a lot of money through those
meals.
I
didn't do that, but I'm really generous for our members and people in our church who donated. I mean, we had some really generous givers. And my parents did a great job, and the kids doing the meals. But
They were awesome, man.
at $5 a meal, you're not really doing. You're going to get there and you're going to get it paid for. But what you get is these people. It's a $5 meal and they throw in a 20, or it's a $5 meal and you get $100 bill.
Yeah, right.
And so you got people who are generously giving. I heard a lot of people who enjoyed the fellowship, who enjoyed just coming in and having a meal, seeing the kids, serving.
It was awesome, man.
Working for it. So
and kudos to you and the kids and the parents for doing that, and kudos to the people who gave to make that possible. People realize, camp, all that stuff's expensive, dude. I mean, it's not like it was 10, 15, even 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's
a commitment.
It's close to $400 for the week for all those, each kid to go. And then, but I'm excited because John's getting to go with me. Anita's been a big part of that. She's been every year. My wife's going this year with us, and Miles, so it'll be interesting.
And I'll be here walking around by myself.
Just be you here. Good luck. Now, one thing on that too, we go down there and it's worship, and we have a lot of fun, but we do serve while we're there, and I'm excited about that. We're going to be working with a organization that helps have a community garden there that provides food for folks, and so our kids are actually going to be helping build a new garden spot
for
the thing. So we're excited about that. And
can't wait to hear the story.
Ready to head out. So just be praying for safe travels and all that stuff.
When do you leave?
We leave Monday.
Monday.
Yep. Be back late Thursday night.
Cool. So. Proud of you guys, and looking forward to hearing some great stuff, man. It's been a great spring. We always say we come out one season, you head into the next. It's been a great season of ministry here. School's out now. Looking forward to the summer. Summer's up and down, but I'm excited about what's coming around the next corner. I think it's going to be good.
Yep. Well, Joe, you can lay back now. Take you a nap here in the.
Hey, you're the guy going to camp. You better take a nap.
Yeah, I got to get rested up. But I appreciate you talking to us, and thanks everybody who's listening.
Thanks, guys.